Hello everyone, welcome back to the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion commentary.
What were we talking about at the end of the last part?
Oh god, I don't remember.
The way,
We took a break.
the way,
Oh no!
the way games, multiplayer games in particular, sort of come unfinished and then drip feed content after release rather than just being released as complete packages.
Oh yes, okay, I remember, and I had a point I wanted to make about that. And it actually, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a great example. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you do not have the entire roster unlocked at the very start. You only have the characters from the original Smash Bros. And you unlock more as you go. Now, strictly as a casual experience, I think that this is annoying because what if I don't want to play as Mario or Donkey Kong or Link? What if I want to be Rosalina or Little Mac? And basically the game says, nuh-uh, you gotta unlock the characters, sucks to be you. So that's annoying from a casual standpoint. From a learning the game and trying to get good at the game standpoint, it is good when games kind of stagger options for you because you're not overwhelmed with options and you can actually learn what you're given before you move on to the next thing. This is something that I've found whenever I've tried a lot of fighting games, is that I only ever learn like one character. Like when I played Tekken Tag Tournament, for example, I really only ever learned how to play as Bob, who's the fat guy in Tekken Tag Tournament. You know, I really only learned how to play as him because I just chose one character and stuck with it. And when games stagger content like that, you get more time to learn stuff. So for example, if a game starts with 5 maps and you play those 5 maps for the first month, you learn them really well. And so you can keep on playing them over and over again. And so when in month 2, they unlock maps 6 and 7, now you're getting that new experience, but you also have already learned 5 maps. And learning 5 maps, then 2 maps is easier than learning 7 all at once.
Counterpoint.
Now, granted, if you pick up the game 2 years later, you have to learn everything all at once anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
So it makes it just as hard for that. But I feel like the general assumption with multiplayer games is that you buy them early and stick with them. That's the developer assumption, at least.
The thing about it is they're not doing it to stagger content so that you learn faster or so that you learn better. They're doing it to keep the community socially engaged. They're trying, it's the same principle as why they force you to do certain maps at certain times of day and certain modes on certain days. They're trying to force a particular kind of experience on the player. They don't want players to just play their favorite mode. They want players to play all the modes, so they force you to play all the modes. It's not...
I would say that, at the very least, in terms of engagement, making sure that you know everything is kind of the same thing. Just in the sense that players are more engaged when they feel like they understand the systems at play. But you are right in that Splatoon has a very weird development philosophy of you're going to play what we tell you. Which is very not American, because here in the States we have a Burger King have it your way kind of mentality about a lot of stuff, where we are going to play the game the way we want to play it.
That's the thing, though. This is a game, fundamentally speaking. If I find a particular mode or set of modes less enjoyable than others, I should have the freedom to just ignore them. Like, yeah. I don't want to play the fucking Spirit board in Smash. I have no... there is nothing about it that appeals to me. But imagine if Nintendo just decided, okay, it's the 3rd week of February, you're going to play Spirit board and you're going to like it. No.
Yeah, that's why I think that, we talked about this in an earlier part, but having a separate lobby for each game mode would be nice, you know. I think their worry is that, you know, like, nobody would play Clam Blitz if they didn't have a Clam Blitz lobby or whatever, which I think is a legitimate concern, because as we've seen with other games, particularly Nintendo games. Smash Brother, okay, really just Smash Brothers. It's often hard to find people to play the game you want to play it because the community has such a predefined way of doing it. Like, there are so many options that could, like, even still be competitive that just aren't considered okay by the fan base because it's a walk off for the first 30 seconds of the match, or other reasons that Smash has for it. I mean, granted, I still don't think that that's any reason to not do it, but
I think when the game is popular enough, and I dare say Splatoon at this point in time is popular enough, you don't really need to worry so much about that. Unless it's like 2:30 in the morning on a Sunday, then you might have to worry about it. But
this is one of my favorite chat room logs because we see that Captain Cuttlefish is a racist asshole here. He looked up Scoop on Marina, and Marina used to be an Octoling soldier before she left to the Octoling world. She also designed the Flutters, and screw those things. They're one of the more annoying enemies in the game. But the great part about this, and this is one of the best character moments for Pearl in the entire game, is that Captain Cuttlefish is trying to say this to Pearl to be like, she's the enemy.
I like that.
She's evil. And then Pearl's like, you go after her. I'm gonna fucking murder you.
I like how the Splatoon universe just acknowledges that the characters routinely get splatted over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Nobody,
so this is like this is the moment. Yeah, I guess she's okay for an Octo. You freaking racist. Jesus Christ, Captain Cuttlefish. Learn some tact. It's 2021, man. Come on, you racist piece of crap. But yeah, that was the moment I started really liking Pearl.
It's like my favorite Disney movie is Song of the South.
Oh no, Captain Cuttlefish. It's time to go back to bed there, Grandpa.
He's that one old timer relative that you just can't have over to dinner when you've got friends visiting.
Yeah. Whatever Splatoon Thanksgiving is, he's not invited. His favorite episodes of Friends are the ones with the homophobic jokes in them, like...
Yeah, Friends is... You go back and watch Friends, and Friends is really homophobic. Like, wow.
Yeah, like, there's so much. Like, it's like, oh... Netflix pays how much to keep this on their program? Yikes. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, that's one of my favorite log entries in the game. And again, I think that the added lore stuff that they have going on here is part of, I think, what gives Splatoon a little bit more bite to its single player than a lot of the other sort of franchises that Nintendo has. Because like Mario, none of the main Mario's story ever really matters. You don't really get a lot of moments like that. Like the closest you get is Odyssey, lately at least, and even then it's just kind of more like, oh, there's some funny dialogue here and there.
Odyssey's story was like mostly like the charm in it was mostly in the way the world was built around the simplistic plot. Like you got some cool little stories about the people, and you got some cool little side plots about reoccurring characters, or it was just like, yeah, the plot's not super like special in any way whatsoever, but it was like it did a good job of making the Mario world feel like a world, however whimsical and silly it was,
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of other Nintendo games. Like Zelda definitely tries to have more depth to its world. So there's that. Metroid I feel like has a problem where it's very much a tell don't show kind of experience a lot of the time. They mostly are just like you're reading about stuff and you don't ever really get a lot of instances where the game like really shows you a lot of the things that's going on. You're mostly told, which isn't great storytelling. There's stuff like Pikmin, but Pikmin really only has one game with a strong story focus, and that's 3. So we don't really get a huge look into that world, unfortunately. There's stuff like Fire Emblem, but I feel like once we start getting into RPGs, then that's its own. Like its own, it doesn't, we're not even really on the same wavelength anymore.
Tactical RPGs, strategy RPGs in particular, tend to have a very strong political world-building focus. That's pretty much 99% of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Well, when you're doing a strategy RPG, you have a lot of units, and effectively the only way to do that is to have basically just do war sims.
Yeah.
And what is war sims but political and all that other stuff going on too, so...
Yeah, that's kind of why whenever there's a filler arc in Fire Emblem or a filler mission, it's just, oh, bandits appear. And it's because there's so much talking in politics. They needed to have, like, something to give you a battle, you know, even if it wouldn't make sense at that particular moment.
I feel like Three Houses did at least do a better job at its filler side story arcs. Like, even when the bandits did appear in the story, they actually kind of were tied into the politics because they were being used as a way to assassinate someone by, like, the Flame Emperor or someone. You know?
Yeah, I still have not played Three Houses. That's mostly just because it's the school setting for the first half of it allows them to make a lot of the battles that are early game that normally would be, oh, bandits attack, here's how you learn about axe units or whatever. That's like set up as like a class, effectively. Right?
Oh,
or am I
basically, you go to fight like the same group of bandits from the first mission, basically to finish them off, because after being driven off in that first battle, they wind up hiding out in what the church considers holy ground. So the church effectively sets your class's mission for that month to be routing them from that location. And it's actually kind of entertaining. Sothis gives you the time rewinding power because the idea of sending children into battle kind of makes her uncomfortable, and she wants to give you an out. So it's surprisingly well handled in that respect. But like when Three Houses has a side story, it's usually something like this character has a betrothal request that from someone who is highly suspect, and you go to investigate that, and there's a battle after you find it. Like the only awkward thing about that story is that because of the format of your typical Fire Emblem story episode, you kind of skip over the interesting part where they find out the stuff that they find out about him. Which is unfortunate because that sounds like the most interesting part of the side story, but you just sort of fade past it and fight a battle with the guy's minions on your way back.
And remind me, you choose what team you're on at the beginning of the game, and you can't change.
After the first battle, and after you talk to like all the students, you can choose which of the three houses you're on, and then halfway through the Black Eagles, there's another choice that you can make. So there's 4 different story paths in total. But regardless of
I
which...
don't see species. You are so articulate, Marina.
Yeah. Captain Cuttlefish fly.
Like,
you see, it's funny because back in that old Splatoon 2 commentary we did, we made a joke about how Marie was actually like secretly racist, but it's like, no, there actually is. See, Agent Nate is also an Octarian, but appreciates. It's like, oh, they actually put it into the. It's funny though. This is a more realistic depiction of race relations than most other games I have seen. Like,
it's very tongue in cheek, but it is kind of acknowledging some of the more uncomfortable aspects of certain conversations that you may have been sitting in the room listening to in a hotel room at a convention once. I may or may not be thinking of a specific instance myself.
Hmm.
Eh.